Oh, hey everybody, welcome to Art Jam. Happy holidays. Hope you're all doing really well. My name's Josh Herman. In case you've never been to Art Jam, this is actually going to be our last Art Jam of the season, last Art Jam of the year. So welcome everybody to a very special holiday special from Gnomon. Thank you all for joining us today. I'll be working in ZBrush today, probably sculpting something. I've got a plan, but I wanted to say hello to everybody, and hopefully you are all doing well. I realize that my sweater is not on, so you may get very lucky and watch this. I don't know, maybe we'll catch on fire. We'll see what happens. All right, so today we're going to be sculpting some stuff in case you've never been to this before. Basically, I'm going to be working for a couple hours. You're welcome to chat with me. You're welcome to hang out. See a couple people joining right now. Hello. Coming in to say hi. Hi there. Hi. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all doing really well. You should be able to hear some music and let me know if the sound is okay. Otherwise, we're going to get started very, very shortly. I'm sure I've heard about Pixelogic and Maxon. Of course I have. Yes. Mixed feelings, but generally I'm happy for them. Happy for the team over at Pixelogic. All right, let's jump into this just in a moment. Getting everything set up. Great audio balance. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's jump into our ZBrush right now. I don't want this one. There we go. All right, so we're going to have some fun today, just kind of sculpting around. You are all welcome to chat with me if you got any questions, anything you want to talk about. Happy to talk about Maxon, anything like that. And I'm going to bring over my sphere. We're going to be sculpting on this today. Be sculpting from scratch, and I figured we start out with something Christmas themed. We'll probably only do this sculpt for the rest of the session today, but we're going to be doing this. So we're going to be doing a gremlin. So let's get going. Probably start with just the head. I have a feeling this sweater will give me a headache within 30 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. It is shockingly distracting. And as it gets darker in here, because I don't have any other lights on, you will almost certainly see this be the only lighting in the room. Same here. Glad for the devs from your experience with Redshift. Most likely perpetual might go away. That is one of my biggest concerns, I guess, of the, I don't know what the right word is, merge? Acquisition? Is the perpetual license. I'm obviously a big fan of ZBrush. I use it pretty much all the time. And I first purchased it in 2007, I think. And I've never had to upgrade again. Probably like many of us out there. One of the big, not necessarily a selling point, but it definitely helps, knowing you never need to upgrade your license, or at least never pay for another license. So I'm very, very curious to see how that will go. Let's get some gremlin shapes in here, though. Anybody got a favorite holiday movie? A lot of people sometimes throw in the sleeper Gremlins 2 or Gremlins 1. I think they're both Christmas movies, right? Gremlins 1 definitely is. Anybody have a bad Christmas movie that they watch every year? For me, it's Jingle All the Way. That's right, the Arnold Schwarzenegger hit classic, Jingle All the Way. Just Friends. Ooh, okay. There we go. I haven't seen that one in a very long time. Anyhow, it's 5:30 a.m. here in India. Wow. Better get some sleep. I agree. Have a happy holidays to you. I'm going to need to put an eyeball in here at some point. I don't really know what the top of a gremlin's head looks like off the top of my head. We'll make it work, though. I think they're pretty. I can always do this. Whoa. Just put them like this. This is working as a reference and, as a thing for the show. Need more Christmas horror movies. Yeah, Krampus has kind of got a little bit. What else is a good Christmas horror movie? Are there many Christmas horror movies? And would you consider Gremlins a horror movie? It's definitely like a monstery movie. I don't know if I'd really call it like a horror movie. I guess you could. Let's get some eyeballs in here. Append. Sphere. Okay. What is the best? Is there what are some of the Christmas horror movies I genuinely don't even know? Aside from I can think of Christmas action movies like Die Hard, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I'm trying to think of other ones. For now, we'll just make this a black object. We'll fill it with toy plastic. Oh, that's not black. That's really dark gray. Let's make it black. Yeah, just no Krampus. It'd be nice to get some more horror ones out there. Oh, I have Sculptures Pro on. I didn't know that, but that's all right. Let's try it. Scrooged. Scrooge isn't necessarily a horror movie, but it's got like definitely some thriller elements to it. I like it. I like where we're going with this. We're gonna get this. This is gonna look like a real character soon. A real character. Right now it just looks like an alien. Can I color pick from this? No. Oh, yeah, I can. It's just on the wrong one. It's much darker than I thought it would be. Yeah, we're going back to our green. All right, go away a little bit, little gremlin. You can be here. Scrooge is fun. That was the Bill Murray one, right? I think this needs to go like this way a little bit. It's pulled into that little corner of the eyeball there. They kind of have this interesting shape where it all kind of converges here, so let's try to make that happen. The corner of the eye basically hits here. The edge of the nose kind of hits there. And then this line all kind of hits there, so maybe that's why it's looking weird. Alright, I don't think we need to see these graphics the entire time. It's not like this. I can hide behind this tree for a little while. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Just sculpting a gremlin today. One of the best holiday movies out there. Changed my mind. I would actually love to hear arguments for different holiday movies being the best. I switched it to this color palette because it was better for what the stream was looking like, but it's really hard to read the text. There was a really scary Christmas episode in Love, Death, and Robots. Still stuck with Polar Express like yesterday. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Polar Express. I think it's because the children. I mean, I'd say that the CG in that hasn't aged terribly well. Polar Express. They look a little creepy to me. Just a little creepy. But hey, I said I like Jingle All the Way, so I'm not going to give you any shit about that. Mirror this on Y. Oh, it's masked. That's why. Still stuck with Polar Express. I mean, Polar Express is fine. It's just, like I said, it looks a little creepy. My favorite Christmas movie isn't actually Jingle All the Way. It's just my go-to bad movie that we can watch. We do watch basically every year. I think they made a sequel. Not that anyone really needs to see that either, but they also did a recent Home Alone sequel, didn't they? I didn't see it yet. Hawkeye's a bit of a Christmas special. I haven't watched the most recent episode, but I'm enjoying that. Maybe make that a little not 100% black. Tried sculpting with Blender and it isn't as simple as you thought it would be. Yeah, Blender's not like, it's good, don't get me wrong. Blender's like a fantastic program, but it's not necessarily designed to be a sculpting program. It's good. It's a fantastic program, like I'm saying, but that's kind of why or how ZBrush became not because of Blender, but it's been the best for the longest. So I think it's just kind of, you know, it's just way more intuitive than pretty much all the other ones are. I make sculpting look easy. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's taken a long, long time to feel as comfortable as I feel in ZBrush and just generally sculpting, to be honest. But I didn't start sculpting till I was in college. So I didn't really get into 3D or sculpture or even really art as a real passion until I was in college. So if you're into it, if you're passionate about it, you can find a way to make it happen. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Everybody who's joining the stream, welcome to the stream. I think we should get back that holiday look. Should we put back our graphics? Let's put back our graphics, everyone. Let's go like this and go like this. And we'll put our little guy back. There we go. The head's bigger this way anyways. Well, if someone used Microsoft Excel to make amazing art, if you are a good artist, you can make good art in Blender. That's true. Anybody can make. The program isn't what makes you good, right? I think we should all be aware of that. But it's not the program that makes you good. It's the time and the craft that makes you good. The passion for it. All right, let's get some ears in here. How do the ears actually attach? Let's take a quick Google search. Gremlin. Oh. Yep. Corey Feldman? I didn't realize Corey Feldman was in there. Alright, let's do that. Yes, I gotta bring these out a little bit. Okay, we gotta add some teeth eventually, but okay, we got some color in there. Yep. That's feeling a little better. And these gotta go like way out as well. Bring this out. This has got some of the faces that they made go all the way and some don't. So let's just kind of do one that kind of goes like this. And then we'll eventually put in some of these little, little spikes. Come on, BSH. There we go. Do some of those. Maybe get a couple of these bad boys in there. Get some of that textured skin here in a little bit. Do I ever hard surface model in ZBrush? Yes, I do. I definitely have done it occasionally. I actually am doing it on one of Gnomon's other channels. I'm doing another show. I just wrapped one of the characters on our show called Archetype. So if you're on YouTube or Twitch, it looks like you're on YouTube, you can check out our playlist for Archetype, and you'll see me do some of that stuff there. I show the process of that as well. So check that one out. Let's get like this jaw. Let's like pull this out. And then how does this ear attach? It looks like it kind of goes back here. It looks like the top of the head either has like some hair, which right now we don't have, or it does kind of this thing. One of them kind of looks like this with like another ridge. Just gonna do this for now though. All right, let's go ahead and grab this. We'll just pull it out. Well, that's a little far. That'll do. And let's just say like yay far. And then we'll do like down here. Oh, okay. Down here. Let's get in there. You want to try it, but you don't have a tablet. You don't need a tablet to do ZBrush in general, and you don't really need it to do hard surface. Obviously, it's going to be easier. I'm not saying it's easier to do without a tablet. It would be much easier to do with a tablet, but you don't need one. Evil Yoda. Yeah, you're not necessarily wrong. Or maybe it's the other way around. Even though. Who came out first, Gremlins 1 or Yoda? Empire Strikes Back. I'd imagine it's Empire Strikes Back, right? It'd have to be. Bring it over another image. Just need a little bit more reference here. Feels like it kind of goes back this way first. Looking at some of these other ones here. Kind of goes behind the head. So we'll do that. Let's try to make the neck a little smaller, isn't it? Otherwise the head would be huge. I mean, it is big, but even further. think the one here is a little toy. I don't remember where it's from though. I think NECA or Nika. How do you pronounce that? I've never known that one. Birdaid from YouTube is asking, and also can I have some advice for what matters the most, a GPU or a CPU, because I'm planning to buy one and upgrade my machine, but I don't know which one to go to first. That is a great question. I think it really depends on what you'll be using the most. The reason I say that is because, for example, ZBrush does not use the GPU really at all. I think there's only one feature in which it uses the GPU. So if you're going to be doing a lot of sculpting, you don't need it. You just need a good CPU and a lot of RAM. So I would also include RAM on that as well. If you're upgrading or if you don't have maxed out RAM, that's something I would consider. So definitely think about that. But generally, if you're doing VFX work, if you're doing anything, it's real-time rendering, anything like that, a really great video card is a good GPU is going to be the way to go. Note to self, always use reference photos. Got to use your reference photos. It's super important. It's a big mistake that a lot of people make, myself included. I'm not saying I don't, because all the time on many of the streams here, I've tried to make something without reference photos, and it frankly is, there's sometimes you knock it out of the park and you do great, but it's much easier to mess it up or to make something that looks weird. Not good weird, sometimes just weird. That's an important distinction. I'm going to start getting some texture in here. I think that'll help break it up and get a little closer. I'm also going to start adding these teeth very shortly, because I think the teeth, and maybe paint the eyes, or at least very quickly paint the eyes, I think that will help quite a bit. I kind of want to bury, you see how deep this crevice is here? I think it needs to be like sunken in like this, so that the eyes really feel like they're bulging out of the sockets. I've never sculpted a gremlin before, and actually, I got this question in class the other day about what somebody can do if they're interested in character design, or if they're just interested in getting into sculpting. And I think doing, and even basing off what you were saying of, having reference photos handy, I completely agree with that. Like doing a master study or the equivalent of one, which is kind of what we're doing today, is a really great way to learn. I mean, it's just so hard to beat that. Like just studying some successful, well-known work, whether it's fan art, whether it's somebody else's concept art, just something that's got, something that's been produced and is very specific in what it is. You'll learn a ton about shapes. You'll learn a ton about all kinds of things as you make that thing. Okay, I can tell that I need to bring this top lip up because of the distance to the here to here is incorrect. So I'm going to bring this up. And then I'm going to go down to my other subtool. I'm going to repeat that stroke so I get the exact same movement twice. I'm going to add some thickness to the lips here. I'm going to try to get the teeth. See, the curve of the mouth is actually more on the outside. It's not the middle. It's kind of like over here. Get as close as we can. true. Not everybody's like Kim Jong-ji who can draw anything without reference. It's hard to be that person. About Bird Aid, you were asking about the CPU, GPU, and you're saying you use 3ds Max and a bit of Houdini. I'm not a Houdini expert, but I'm pretty sure it uses a lot of GPU. But I would imagine it uses CPU as well if you're doing Sims, right? I just imagine it's got to be playing back in the viewport. I just don't know how much of that is GPU or CPU. For you, it sounds like it might be able to go either way. Regardless, upgrading your computer will be good for you. So. Let's get some teeth in there, because these teeth are not, these gums alone aren't really selling it, are they? Alright, so let's bring these in. I'm going to come in here, pick white as a color just so it's a different thing. I'm going to try an insert mesh brush. I just want to insert basic brush, insert primitives. I'm going to just choose the sphere, polysphere. That's what I'm looking for. So we got 2 in the middle. They all do differ though. There's some weird thing where I can like change the shape, so I'm trying to figure out what exactly that is. Let's just do that. They're sticking out at all the wrong angles, but that's okay. We don't really need them to be perfect. This is really just getting, that one is a little circular, getting the right shapes in. So let's do this, hide, group split. So now we have all of our teeth, which are poorly placed, but at least the meshes are there. Gonna get them in there. I'm gonna just mask the bottoms right now, and I'm just gonna do like a general attempt to rotate them, even though that probably won't do what I want. Not at all. But at least it will rotate the whole bunch, and then I can kind of come in here and start masking these off individually. And we'll end up breaking symmetry on these, but we just need to get them in. Probably somewhere in here. What do I think about Maxon buying ZBrush? You just read about it today. Yeah, but a lot of people have been asking about that. I'm curious. I'm very curious. I'm, you know, probably like many of us, I'm interested to see if the perpetual license will go away. But I'm generally happy for the Pixelogic team. I don't know if they'll still be called Pixelogic. I didn't read about that, but just because, you know, they're cool people, and hopefully they got what they wanted out of it. Getting all these spheres in, and then we'll make some Fortunately, the teeth look pretty simple, so I'm not sure if we're gonna have to do too much to them. I'm sure I'll have to do something, but generally I just wanted to get teeth in there for now so it doesn't look really odd. Just if there weren't any. Bottom jaw is sticking out further than the top. I don't think that should happen, so we'll have to fix that in a second. What brush did I use for that last smooth of the teeth? I just used the move brush. Just the move brush, just trying to, you know, it's a jam. Move them all at once. You can also use the Move Topology brush or Move Topological brush. This is a great brush for using teeth because you can use a really big brush size, but you can only move one of them at a time. Talking about ZBrush, Bird Aid saying independent studios tend to do a better job than huge corporations. I agree. Afternoon, Max on Gang, good vibes. Do I use Z-Wrap? It feels like a pretty solid tool for instant UV plus skin details. Is it pretty industry standard now? I have not used Z-Wrap, but I have been playing around with the standalone version of Wrap. I think that I've definitely seen that before. When I worked at Cloud Imperium, part of our pipeline for heads was to use the same program, not the ZBrush version of it, but that was pretty common for us to use that to wrap a sculpt or a head scan that we did or whatever it was to our generic topology that all of our characters had. All right, we can just do a little bit more on the teeth and then we'll move on for a bit. It does look cool though, and I'm excited to play with it myself. If you use topological move size 1, then it'll act like topological transpose. The mesh won't deform. That's cool. I didn't know that. Just kind of moves it. Sometimes when I'm doing this, at least, like I'll just try it now. Like I should just be using it now, just to kind of pull them. I don't mind warping them, especially in this case, just because it's, not necessarily intended to be that shape right now. But if it was like a shape that I didn't want transformed, that's a great tip. So thank you. All right. Time zones make me forget it's only bedtime for me. Well, thank you for joining. Appreciate that. And happy holidays to you if you're heading out. In case you're just joining now, this is going to be our last art jam of the year. It's actually not just our last art jam of the year, but it's going to be Gnomon's last stream of the year. So we won't be having any more archetypes, creature corners, art jams, Lenovo, or info sessions. No streams for the rest of the year. This is it right here. let's add a little texture and just get into actually sculpting. We're about 40 minutes into the stream, and as always, we should be saving. So let's go ahead and get this over there. Apparently, I've already sculpted something called Gremlin, so that's exciting. Holiday, which means, you know what that means? It means we can load up the gremlin that I already sculpted and put this head on said gremlin, because I remember the gremlin I sculpted didn't have a real head. Look at this. Oh yeah, we can definitely put our head on that. That is more interesting teeth too. Definitely a different vibe than the little fellow we got down here. That's alright. Let's just clone this body then. Clone. Append. Oh, big head mode. That's pretty close. Let's just hide this head. Hide. 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 Great. Let's grow this selection. Fantastic. Look, everybody, we have a body. We've done it. Now we can save again. Maybe a little tinier. Yeah. It's looking a little swole. How did I grow the selection? Good question. Under visibility on the right side over here, I'll toggle to a different view. You won't be able to see me for a second, but you'll see it. Well, hi, I'm over here. Underneath the right-hand side, there's a one called visibility. If you click visibility, there's a grow selection and a shrink selection button right here. And that will help you get to that. Perfect. Serendipity, look at that. We already had a head ready to go, or a body ready to go. It's almost even better. All right, let's get this. Ooh, from the profile, it's looking kind of rough, though. Kind of want to like... What happens if we just rotate the whole head? How's that look? Kind of like that little angry scowl. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the whole head from this selection. We're going to rotate it down. It's going to break everything here. On the right side, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to hit my stroke replay last hotkey, which is going to move everything. Exactly the same transformation I just did. I'm going to maybe do that a little bit further. And also use the arrow keys. Now he's kind of looking down. Finding the right pose. Well, perspective definitely has to be on. Yeah, that's better. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. If you're just joining the stream, welcome to the Art Jam Gnomon Holiday Special. I'm your host, Josh Herman. We're sculpting a gremlin today. Should we get in here with some of these colors? Let's do some of these eyeballs. So we need to take this. We're going to take, I think it's called fade. Fade. Oh, it's not fade. Let's make opacity. Oh, 100%. See how it was hiding back there? Yeah, it's invisible. Okay. Oh, all the way to the top of the predator wheel. Scale this thing up. What are we doing? We're getting some color selection. Go away, thing. Yeah, I know he's encroaching on our screen, but if I hit C right now, you'll see that I can actually color pick from this, as long as it's selectable. So I can select this red. Let's get this yellow first. Hide this. We're going to hide the whole character there. I'm going to select the eyeballs. move this neck piece. Select the eyeballs. I'm going to switch to just painting only. I'm going to turn smooth off of my smooth brush, or RGB off of my smooth brush. We're just going to come in here real quick. Get some of this in here. Oh, hi again. Get this red in here. That's terrifying. That doesn't look at all what I want it to, but it's getting there. All right, what do we got to do? We got to get some of this little gradated red in there. And we'll bring back that yellow. Let's put a little bit of this in here. Good thing to know about sculpting is it usually looks really terrible and then it gets better. Will your model have good topology if you decide to import it into Maya or Blender, or do you have to remesh it? You don't have to. It just depends on what your goal is. If you want to get, something that's going to be like nicely rendered or something like that, then yeah, you probably should do that. Looks like the slit of the guy just goes to the top and to the bottom. So I'm going to select this to go like this. You certainly don't have to, though. Just like popping up. Feels like it's the Mortal Kombat. Whoopee! So, the eyes are a little low in my sculpt. And somebody has a question about, Quentin Andrew from YouTube says, any advice on how to seat the eyes into the socket, choosing the shape of the brow, of the nose, brow, when designing a creature? Where do you take your inspiration from? Brow, etc. Gotcha. The biggest piece of advice I can tell you about seating eyes, which it's kind of looking really odd right now because of where the eyes are being placed. But the biggest advice I can give you is actually to make sure, and this is going to sound weird, that the thickness of the eyelids are thick. That there is a thickness. You can see it here. I've already clearly shown it on the top and the bottom of this. But the further in you put it, unless it goes way too far, it will generally look better. And that's I would recommend you take some reference photos or go to Google and just find them really fast. And look at eyes and look at the thickness of an actual human eyelid, and you'll note that they are actually, that's part of it, they were a little fish-eyed and even a little too outwardly tilted. There's a real thickness there, and that's something that I think most people don't necessarily notice when they're working on a character like that. And if you ensure that that's kind of in your sculpt, it will make it look better, guaranteed, just because otherwise it looks like it's plastered to the front. So that's what I would recommend. As far as the shape of the brows and all that stuff, using reference is best. That's why I have this character here. I'm basically just recreating a version of that for the stream. Not the best eyes I've ever painted before, but they'll do for now. Actually, I'll take this. Looks like it should go in a little bit more, doesn't it? I know there's multiple different versions of the character too. I think the eyes might be a tad large now that I've got them painted, so I'm going to shrink them just a little bit. And then I'm going to go to this piece, the head sculpt, mask the eye socket area, invert it, and see if I can shrink that as well. And actually that masked color probably fits the gremlin more. I think that's part of why it looks a little weird, is because of what this looks like. You can pretty easily just color pick that now that it's masked. I can go back to color and I can just hit fill object. I do the same thing here, color, fill object. And now when this guy pops up, it won't look like such a weird difference between who the two are. Still a little on the dark side, but we can always bring that up with some color. All right, I forgot to mask off the mouth, so let's get that black of the mouth, just so that it doesn't feel like we're looking inside of a sock puppet. Just painting the inside should help with that, at least a little bit. I do want to bring this up just for at least the stream, just because it feels a little too dark. It'll be fine. We'll do some other color adjustments to it, and this is obviously much darker. All right, let's get into some more sculpt. We're going to push the shapes and the forms a little bit right now. We have about an hour and 10 minutes left in our stream today. So if you're just joining us, welcome. I'm actually going to take this color, go back to this. Something if I'm doing quick sculpting as well, like I'm kind of doing today, where I'm just trying to get a shape in, or get shapes and colors in. You know, if I were doing a production, very high-res sculpt of this, I wouldn't do it in 2 hours. Vertice Models from YouTube says, hey, Mr. Herman, have you ever used another sculpting software, or have you ever used 3D Coat? I've used Mudbox before, but that was quite a long time ago. I've never actually used 3D Coat, but I've seen a lot of people make great stuff out of it. Let's color the inside. The eye, just a little eyeliner in there, but you'll notice that actually helps cement the eyeballs in there just slightly. And then let's take this color, pump it up just a tad in the yellow range, and then we're going to start just doing some of this. This is more just visualization than it is like final painting, but I think it will help us get there. Soon we're going to have to subdivide. You need Yama to put out some 3D tutorials, 3D Coat tutorials, absolutely. There were some good ones by Aton. Aton did some a while ago on his Gumroad, so maybe that's somebody you could look at. For environment creation is, if I believe, if I'm correct, I think that's what it was. I think these are like a little... What is this jam we have right now? I think these are a little tiny. Now they're a little big. Just slight... Boop! That's too much. That'll do. The mouth. I think the mouth is just too wide from the front, so let's go ahead and just try doing some adjustments. It's too small now. There's something going on here. I think like the head needs to come out. Yep, that feels better already. I think this is because I was sculpting with symmetry, or not symmetry, perspective off. I know some people who can sculpt with perspective off, but I don't understand how they do it. I have to have it on. I just genuinely don't. There's some artists who were on my team and they would sculpt without it, And as soon as I would come over, they would turn it on. And I'd be like, I don't know how you can actually make good looking work with perspective off, but you've done it. So I'm impressed. Let's pull this out just a little further. Let's get some of this color again. And then we'll get some of maybe this warmth from this red in here. And then we'll, let's just color pick this dark color here. It's not looking real dark, but that'll do. We'll change our stroke here. Just going to change it to kind of the equivalent of like an airbrush with very little color saturation differences. So it's going to kind of have this style of a paint. And I'll just kind of do a little bit of speckling on it. Actually, I lied. I'm not going to do that with that. I'm going to do it with just sculpture. So we're going to take this. I'm going to subdivide. So now this has subdivisions. We're just going to add some bumps. And I feel like actually, isn't there a rake brush still in here? There is. I feel like the rake brush could be really good for these characters. How do I feel about Maxon acquiring Pixelogic? I feel like that's the 4th or 5th time this has been asked, but I'll recap it once or a couple more times. Mixed feelings, worried about perpetual licenses, but I'm happy for the Pixelogic team. Definitely not expected. Definitely completely unexpected, I guess I would say. Hide this body for now. Satish from Facebook is saying, hey, what are your thoughts on Pixelogic being bought by Maxon? I think we're not going to be able to escape this question today. Mixed feelings, happy for them, worried about the perpetual license. I'm only laughing because this is like seriously like the 6th time we're going to get that question. I have a feeling that will only be the question we get now. Alfredo from YouTube is asking, hey Josh, what are your thoughts on Mudbox as a sculpting program? Good question. I don't like the feel of sculpting in Mudbox. I think that's what it's always come down to for me. I think that I see the value in Mudbox from a production standpoint. They were very early integrating some really great production workflows, meaning you could texture paint on the UVs years and years and years ago before that was a thing, directly on UVs, and it was just generally much better, I think, as a production tool. Meaning you want to sculpt displacement maps and texture on a UV model and all that fun stuff. It was better at that for sure for a very long time, but it didn't innovate. That was the problem that I think Mudbox had, was it didn't, Dynamesh, Z-Remesh, clip brushes, UV Master. I'm just trying to think of things off the top of my head. Dynamics, those are more recent things, obviously. Thick skin features, like they never really tried super hard to do new features, right? They integrated great production elements, and I think that's awesome, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of really fantastic features that Pixelogic just destroyed them in. There's no really way to beat that. You could pose faster. It was more intuitive for people who had never used a 3D program before, and I think that's kind of something that gets discounted because a lot of people, especially in this stream or people that I meet, complain about the UI of ZBrush, for example, and how it's so different than everything else that's in 3D. But as somebody who taught ZBrush to illustrators for a very long time, to people who had never learned it before and had never learned it was their first 3D software, I could argue that it's the easiest interface to learn pretty easily, just because everything is at the click of your fingers. So I think that Mudbox was great for people who wanted to learn digital sculpting but didn't want to learn ZBrush and were in a production environment. But then within 3 to 4 years, not even that, probably 2 years, Pixelogic just destroyed Mudbox, completely out of the water. No way to beat around the bush there. Sorry, Autodesk. Around the mouth, did you use a wrinkle brush or did you sculpt each wrinkle out? I assume you're talking about this stuff right here. I'm actually using the rake brush, R-A-K-E, and it's a really old ZBrush brush that basically sculpts like this. And it also functions like the clay brush a little bit. So you can come in here and just do this. That's all I was doing. So right now I'm using that brush to kind of add a little bit of texture to things, the rake brush, and then I'm also using the clay buildup to add some texture as well. The gremlins sort of have this like lined aesthetic to them though. And ZBrush has really good customizable UI. That is correct. That is correct. Did I see the amazing Star Wars game trailer? I have not. That's exciting. I'll have to check that out. Spider-Man No Way Home comes out tomorrow. Trying to stay away from as many spoilers of those as I can. So I'm kind of avoiding the internet a little bit, just mostly for Spider-Man right now. Even though I've already seen some spoilers and I'm like, well, okay. I don't know if I should even avoid them anymore, but I'd like to. It's called Eclipse. Shame you're not doing Greta, the only gremlin that actually survived. Ah. I was just picked this one because it was Christmassy. So this texture, for those that were asking before, I'm using the rake brush again. It seems to work pretty well. Is Gnomon still doing presentations in the auditorium on campus open to the public? Good question, Peter. We are not just yet. We're waiting to decide and following protocols for COVID and all that stuff to make sure that everything is safe. We are really looking forward to doing them again. And we have plans to do them again at some point. We just don't know yet when that will happen. So stay tuned, follow us, and we'll, as soon as we can, do an on-campus event. I promise you we will. We're all very excited to do that. We have been having on-campus classes. Those have resumed as of last term. It is week 10 right now at Gnomon. So we are Um, we're wrapping up in-person classes, which is so nice. It's so nice to be back. It's so nice to get to meet the students in person. I just wrapped up my course or my class I guess just yesterday, and it was so nice to just get to know everybody and see people in person and get to meet the students, and it's been really fantastic. So I promise you, as soon as we can do in-person events, we will. Attention, Venom eats Dwayne the Croc. All right. I would love to see The Rock all of a sudden just appear in a Marvel movie. Can you imagine that? It'd be incredible. Let's see if we can get a little depth in this. Let's use our masking. We've got a lot of lines in here. Mask by cavity. Okay, let's hide that mask. Let's do a quick paint job. Does that look good or bad? Bad. Okay, let's try blurring it. How's that look? Not terrible. Not terrible. That's what we go for when we're making art. Not terrible. I think that's just because I messed up. Let's blur the mask. Invert the mask. Hide the mask. Still kind of the same? Yeah, still kind of the same. Alright. Maybe I'll try this way. That still looks terrible. Okay. Invert the mask. Hide the mask. Turn down the RGB intensity to 1/4. And just give it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Now we're talking. Some of you who are joining are like, what is happening? I think we got like a good, pretty solid base of color on this. So we're just going to start sculpting again. Now I can still push this around, do whatever I need to do. Feels like this could go in a little bit. Apparently, like I'm breaking those eyes. Stretch the eyeballs. And a puppet, I almost guarantee you these eyeballs were circular or spherical. That way they were easier to move, but yeah. How do you feel about... Good question. Clips in 4K. Wow, 4K. Great soundtrack, some really great visuals. Awesome. I'm missing... Oh, what's going on? Oh, I'm on the eyeball. It's like something's happening. I can also come in here and I can do like a little bit of a... paint around the eye to kind of create a shadow. Now, if the character were to be blinking or wasn't just going to be a sculpture, this would be a big no. But in this instance, you can see how it kind of helps cement the eyeball in there. But if it were to be moving, you'll see that it would basically have a line in the eye of where the shadow is. So you don't want to do that all the time. Let's get a little extra shading in here. That's something I think a lot of people don't think about when they think about sculpture is often an object is painted. Like this is clearly painted. So rather than necessarily having it, the sculpt itself, a lot of people try to push the sculpts further. What you can, or what they did was they would just paint things. So I'm painting it all one color, which is going to kind of simulate the idea that that is going and being darker. Right, so I can come in here and paint this. Let's get some more of these dots. I need some more of this sharpness. What is this jam we have? Gnomon School, what are your predictions for the industry in 2022? Just some ideas. Next version of Maya, Unreal, the Unity plus Weta Alliance. Maxon acquiring, it's not the right way to say that, but Maxon acquiring Pixelogic and all their assets. What are our thoughts? What are my thoughts? I can only really speak for myself. I think we're going to see some really fantastic stuff out of virtual production. I think we're going to, especially as COVID protocols are lightening up across the country, at least in the US right now. I think you're going to see that style of shooting and that kind of a production explode. It's already growing massively, but as it becomes, as more stages become available, and as more people become accustomed to it and learn how to use it, I think it's going to change the way that we think of shooting. Will that happen just in 2022? I don't know about that, but I do think it will be something we see over the next year or two. Let's turn symmetry off. Do you think Blender 3.0 is catching up to paid software? I think Blender absolutely is catching up to paid software. I get questions on this stream all the time about just switching to a brush, about whether or not somebody should learn Maya or Blender. And I think most of the consensus here is if you've never learned 3D and you've never touched 3D but you're interested in it, learn Blender first. And I see a lot of concept people. I've heard of modelers and other people who are not necessarily in the animation effects, lighting parts of the pipeline, switching or using Blender, or wishing they could use Blender and asking. I see a lot of professionals using Blender as a tool to help them do stylized work, cartoony, cel-shaded work. So I think as it's catching on in that way, there's no denying that it's, if, for example, if a professional who uses Maya and ZBrush and other programs as their primary tool is using Blender for their personal work, the quick question is why? Why is somebody doing that? Well, they like it more. Why do they like it more? Maybe it's easier to use. Maybe it's more intuitive. Maybe it's got better tools. Maybe it's got better support. Maybe there's a bigger online community. And I think Blender probably has, more of all of that than I think, especially for people who are modeling and texturing. I think Blender has more of that than any other software out there. So, my opinion, and this is not the same question as before, but the future of the industry, I'll jump back to that in a second, but My opinion is that if I was Autodesk, I know that right now they've got, all the big studios and stuff on their side when they're doing big productions, but I'd be worried between Unreal, doing all the stuff that Unreal's doing, and Blender getting the massive following that they're getting, and all the cool features that are being added. I'd be worried personally. Unity bought Weta. They did buy Weta, but they didn't buy all of Weta. They just bought access to their tools and 275 of their developers. I think that this just should... Unity was pretty quiet in the real-time virtual production field, and I think this is them making some noise and saying, hey, we're here too. We're a publicly traded company. We made a lot of money on our IPO. We're not going to let that all go to waste and pretend that, we're not working here. I think they're absolutely working, and I think they're definitely probably going to surprise everybody with what they're going to bring out. And Blender Guru. Blender Guru is great. And now we know why Unity bought SpeedTree and not Epic. What's up, Alex? Yeah, exactly. I think it's a huge reason. What news? Which news today? Is there new news? There's so many newses recently, whether it's Maxon or Unity or... Tell us the news. I haven't seen the new news. Megascan trees. Oh, it's official then. It's finally happening. That was one of the big complaints, was trees. Did they purchase another company? Or are they just releasing a new thing? I'll just search for Megascan trees. Megascan trees. Megascan trees! We're going to look from behind these trees, but... Early access. I mean, this looks incredible. Oh yeah, look at this. This is amazing. I mean, these images are incredible. I'm sure the video is great. I'm not going to watch the video on stream because it's probably going to look like crap, but you just download the first sample from Marketplace and it was 8.6 gigabytes for one species of tree. Holy crap. That's so big. That's huge. .6? Is it like a Unreal 5 thing, a nanite thing? I'm just curious. Gigascans. Yeah, that's true. I'll give that one to you. Well done. Let's see if there's even more texture. I think these characters are all kind of like slimy, so let's give him one that's got a little bit more. None of these are super shiny. Well, now we know. I mean, we were very curious. I mean, we had talked about this before, but like, it felt like either Quixel wasn't interested or Epic wasn't interested in Speed Tree for some reason or something. It's a holiday special. We had to. I did a last minute rename. You know. I am definitely going to develop a migraine after wearing this shirt. So, but I do it for everybody here. Let's get a little more color in here. A little darker in some of these crevices. We have about 40 minutes left. And we do have the body that I had sculpted before. This is definitely not the same proportions. Still feels like it's got a big head motive going on. It's definitely the arms are the problem, I think. Let's just adjust those. Oh, and that. Let's group that. Yeah, let's split this. Delete. Great. Now we have this. Now we can isolate this. That feels a little better. Maybe even one more. Shrink these shoulders in. Change these proportions pretty quickly. Yeah, of all the news, Nizumi 1977 says, Max on buying Pixelogic is the biggest of the news for you. Absolutely. I would agree with you there. Still crazy to me. We'll see how it plays out. Do gremlins in the movies have tails? I don't think they do. This one does, but I don't think the normal ones do. Wondering why Epic didn't buy them. You mean Epic buying ZBrush? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's an interesting story behind all that. Alright, let's see what these gremlin bodies actually look like. It's been a long time. Okay. Can I just grab this? Image new tab. Yep. Looks like this. Alright, so we need to do like... We're not super far off. Yeah, Maxon's owned by a German company. They are owned by a bigger company, though. Or they are a bigger company. Just going to pick a pattern that I already saw. The initial block out, we don't need anything fancy. We'll just do this. Making some stuff with the AI art app. I've heard of that. It sounds really interesting. The whole, make me from YouTube saying you just type in a sentence and it Google searches an image and makes a new image based on that. That's really terrifying, but cool at the same time. Mandala at Gnomon School. Gnomon's really taught me a lot in the last 2 years virtually. I'm really happy you guys have been able to have been around, keeping my dreams possible. Thank you, Alex, so much. Thank you for joining us for whatever you've been watching, whether it's these streams or online classes or anything like that. We've been happy to be here for the community, and it's kind of fun to do this stuff as well. So thanks for joining. We really appreciate that. Let's put some texture on this thing. I was using the rake brush, which was working pretty well for the lines in the face, but I don't know if it's really going to work super well on this. We'll give it a shot. Just do kind of a quick pass over the surface. This is partially to add the textural detail, partially to define. With the rake brush, you can also kind of treat it like you would a traditional rake, so you can rake against forms or with forms, and it will help you build shapes. But it can also just be great for adding texture. And that should help us tie in the body with the head. That's just going to completely brutalize those fingers, so I'm going to try to be careful around here. Just saw the promo video for the Megascan trees, amazing. I got to check it out right after the stream. I'd watch it on stream, but I don't think the video is going to be great for everybody here, so I don't want some weird YouTube thing to pull us off. Or Twitch, I don't know. I'd like to avoid a YouTube ban before the end of the year for something like that. One of the big streamers, I don't know if anybody watches Ludwig, but it's recently switched from Twitch to YouTube. And a lot of what he does is React videos, and YouTube has banned him like 2 or 3 times, even though he switched on a contract to YouTube. They've banned him like 2 or 3 times for doing his normal reaction videos, and because I think he accidentally watched like a couple seconds of Baby Shark or something, and it shut them down. He didn't get banned, it just had to restart the stream, but still funny. Alright, we'll just quickly go over the toes. We're not going to add any detail to those today. Not any at all. Alright, let's get some of this darker color in here. I think I painted it pretty heavily here. So now I'll come back to this. I'll switch this back to a spray. And also switch the other color to this green so that I can kind of just dial back some of this if I need to. Let's take this off, and some of them have these little outlines, so maybe we'll do like a little, what is this? He had a wrong reaction. Oh, okay. You're only allowed to approve reactions. That virtual studio setup was cool. Will that be in every studio soon? Asked Make B from YouTube. That would be amazing. I mean, I assume you're talking about the virtual set from the video that the event we had probably a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Oh, that was interesting. What is this? I don't know how I did that. That would be amazing. I mean, I think that there's obviously going to be advantages, and people will almost always still use, traditional sets, traditional workflows in that way. Need a red and green UI preset from ZBrush to complete the holiday theme. I know I went with white because it was easier. I thought about it. Well, I could do it real quick. UI, custom colors. Is it not picking from this? Here's a green. Here's a green. Oh, that's going to be way too green. Main. Oh, God, it's so bright. Like maybe this green. Oh, it just hurts. Just sometimes, I don't know how this is possible. I've seen some people whose like presets are like this, and I'm like, it just hurts my eyes. We'll do it. Let's do a deep, calming red. That's more like a murder house. Let's go a little darker. There, that's a starter. There we go. That'll have to do. And then we'll switch to another shader. Let's go to like the skin shade. Yeah, that should pop a little more. How hard is it getting into YouTube, or how is getting into Gnomon that hard? It's just work. I mean, anybody who, I mean, honestly, if you talk to our admissions process, our admissions program, they will help you out so much. So if anybody was interested in getting into Gnomon, that would be the first thing I would tell them, is just start talking to our advisors, and they will help you out along the way significantly. Because it's more like mentoring and coaching. So I think a lot of people are afraid to reach out. You said that it's the last stream of the year. What will you be doing in the meanwhile? Oh, good question, Bird. I think I saw you do that one earlier, but I missed it. I'll just be, most of us will be wrapping up some work, having a good holiday. This is week 10 at Gnomon right now, which is the last week. Our term. We have 4 terms a year, 4 quarters, and they're 10 weeks long. So classes will wrap up this week or next week, depending on if students have makeup classes. We'll be gearing up for next year. So we have a lot of exciting stuff already planned for next year. Personally, we'll be hanging out with my family. They're coming out to visit. Should be really nice. Happy holidays, Quincy. I think that's how you pronounce that. See you next year. Oh, these teeth definitely need to be painted. Can you have the music list maybe? Yeah, sure. I'll shoot you over the music list in 1 sec. Let me just show you what it is. It's a Spotify playlist. You're going to be super excited when you see it because it's called Twitch Safe for Christmas, or Safe for Twitch Christmas, by Shane Magulio. If you want a good movie to see in the Christmas, Tokyo Godfathers is a masterpiece. All right. Push this face a little bit further. Some of that I'm just going to push with paint. Paint more so than sculpting. Push this head down. I think the head's like much smaller than I have it. I think this light. Ooh. That's the director who did Red Paper. Oh, I guess you're talking about the Tokyo Godfathers. I was like, I didn't do anything called Red Paper. Let's get some of these like little edges and start messing this up a little bit. I think that's part of what this needs, especially in the head. It just feels so clean. I will not be saving this preset as something for the future. It's interesting when you have texture all over the whole character, you really need to push your forms really far. I still think the mouth is too wide. I gotta do something to the eyebrows, I think. Oh, I think I just... Oh, we went back in time. Let's go forward in time. And let's save. In case you're joining, you're near the end. We got about 10 minutes left for Gnomon's holiday special. We're making a gremlin today. Classic holiday movie. Everybody wants a Mogwai for Christmas. Pretty violent little movie though. The mom just straight up chucks a gremlin like in the blender. Terrible way to go. Could you set up a Z mannequin in a pose and replace your sculpt to that pose in ZBrush? Yeah, you can do rigging in ZBrush with the mannequins. I've never really found a huge use for it personally. But I know some people who've used it. I just never really found like I needed to. But you could. I think all the 80s movies are brutal in some way. Absolutely. I just watched Total Recall the other day. The amount of violence in that movie is insane. It's super over the top. That whole trio of movies is, though. What a party! What's up? Welcome. Welcome. You missed our extra festive set. We're going to switch it probably in just a minute. Before we head out, we got 10 minutes left in the stream. You're welcome to come and ask the question that everybody else has asked, which is about the acquisition of Pixelogic. We have other news about Epic and Quixel having amazing new trees in their Megascans library. Looks pretty incredible. Shockingly, because these are LEDs, this hasn't gotten hot, and I'm so happy that this feels okay. Yeah, let's switch it. It's time for a switch. We got 8 minutes left. That's better. Amazing news regarding the trees. Can't wait to give it a shot. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's going to be really cool. A really great new addition. Alex was in the chat earlier and said that he downloaded one species of tree, however, and it took 8.6 gigabytes of space for one species of tree. Which is a lot. But I think that just means it's time to get some new hard drives. That's all it really means to me. Says Nanite does not work well with Thin Geo, wondering how they'll work it out. That's a good question. I have no idea how they'll make that happen with Nanite and Thin Geo. Just migrated your main drive to a 2 terabyte solid state drive. That's amazing. I need to do that myself. Let's just do a little last pass on this thing. We have about 5 minutes left. It's a good jam to close us out. Feeling that drum beat. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me, ZBrush. ZBrush and I were about to have a very serious sit-down conversation. Yeah, the texture on the body does look a lot like Godzilla's texture, even the color. I agree with you. Mind sharing my computer specs? I believe this is a 2080, 64 gigs of RAM. Legs are looking a little chunky, aren't they? Let's just thin that, make it a little more chicken leggy. Let's do a very fast pose. Can we do a pose in 3 minutes? Probably not, but let's try. We'll do it simple and stupid. Way to do that, you don't pose the head. You don't move the head. Why would you move the head? It's so easy to pose and move the body. So invert it, go like this. Give this a little twist. Grab the eyeballs. Mask them one at a time. Don't do it individually, or don't do it at the same time, it won't work. Grab this one. Go to the middle. Where's this character looking? Probably to the left side. This is what I told you to not do. This is why we don't draw that shadow in. This isn't going to work, is it? Not really. That's okay. Just grab this. Just move the old-fashioned way, meaning breaking it. How big is Cinema 4D? Which industry? It's mostly used in the motion graphics industry, not so much in VFX. Motion graphics, titles, all that fun stuff. Not so much in VFX, like film VFX. Give a little this down here. Whoop. We want the yellow. Some yellow stripes in this thing. Makes sense. Stripe. Get out of here. Stripe, 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 stripe. Standing behind this snowbank, just a couple gremlins screaming away. Two little gremlins on a snowy winter day. You need such a sweater. It is pretty wonderful. It's shockingly warm. Just grab these hips. This is probably going to break. Give the old move. Just break it up. And then we'll do this. Do the same thing. Go the other way. And now we can save. And now we can be done, everybody. We're over time. Thank you all so much for joining our last stream of the year. If you haven't joined us for any streams and this is your first stream, thank you for joining for the holiday special. My name is Josh Herman, Chief Creative Officer here at Gnomon. We do a ton of streams, or at least we did a lot in 2021, and we have a lot more planned to do in 2022. So like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is that you're watching. And we will have a lot more of this kind of stuff. So please do that. But again, thank you all very much to everybody who's watching. Thanks again to our sponsor, Lenovo, for sponsoring these streams, this stream specifically, our Art Jam stream, our Archetype stream, their events streams, and Creature Corner. We have all that kind of stuff. So thank you all very much. And I guess one last little send-off. It's just a happy holiday and season greetings to everybody who's watching right now, or if you watch sometime in the future and it's not Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. We will see you next year. So have a wonderful holiday break. We'll see you next year.